Kia ora, I'm Pinky.
And I am Hunter. Welcome to Kōrero Convos.
You were involved with the markets.
Yep.
What'd you do?
We did the Sunday market every week from early in the morning, roughly between the times of like 6 and 7 a.m, where we would be up, we would have the car packed, we would drive down, and we would sell all kinds of interesting and unique items. I sold coins and Pokemon.
Why would you take, just out of curiosity, why would you take coins and Pokemon cards to the Central Flea Market, not a actual collector's event?
Because there's a nice market for them there, nice collector group that likes to get them at reasonable prices.
Okay, is that not a thing at a proper, just pretend I don't know anything about those types of events. Why would I, as a buyer, be better off going to a flea market instead of a...
you get pretty good deals from buy one, get one free to
Were you running
10% off. Yeah, I was running quite a few of the good bonuses, buy something at $20 and get a free item or 10% off.
Why were you doing that?
To bring in customers.
Now you're very passionate about coins.
Yeah, it's a very broad market there.
What can you...
Well, broad how? Why is it broad?
Lots of interest. There's many different types of coins that people like to buy. There's different price points from 50 cents to $1 to $100 plus, depending on what it is. And that's what collectors like. They like filling out their sets.
True.
Or they like collecting the year they were born.
Do you have a favourite type of coin or a favourite coin?
I'd have to say very old coins.
Okay. That's cool.
From 400 BC, sort of old.
Wow.
Do you have anything that old?
Not currently at the moment. I used to.
Really?
My oldest one right now is 1806.
From where?
1806.
Hibernia. It's I think it's... I want to say it's Irish.
Okay.
That's cool.
Not sure.
What other than the age of the coin, what other things might make it valuable or expensive?
Condition. Condition is key when it comes to anything you want to collect. And just errors on it when they're making coins, because the machines can malfunction.
True.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Pokemon cards, right? The imperfections are ones with imperfections are more valuable.
In a way, but it's sort of complex when it comes to Pokemon. If they don't center the card right, it loses value and grade points. But if it's missing the back or printed wrong, then it'd be worth more. Pretty complex.
Okay. Well, tell me about Pokemon cards. I don't get the hype. Why are they so? Why do they sell out so quickly?
There's a high interest market for valuable cards, and when the set first comes out, it's hyped up because it's a new set, and they get bought up by pretty much all the big spenders in hopes of pulling the rarest one, which always has the lowest odds, and that drives the price up drastically.
Is there gambling with the cards, like online? I know some video games have a lot of gambling, which is not great because young people are exposed to
It's
gambling.
definitely a form of gambling.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
Because you got to buy a pack and you got to open it. Sometimes you get completely ripped off, and sometimes you get really lucky. But it's just luck of the draw. The definition of gambling, because you buy the packs hoping to get the good cards, but in reality, the chances are very slim.
Yeah.
okay, well, I know this might be a bit of a personal question, but do you feel it's had an effect on you in a gambling sense?
Kind of. Well, actually, I haven't been able to get them often or lately for the scalpers getting in on there. And I'm not going to pay the inflated prices.
But do you get that sort of that sense of, if I just buy another pack, maybe that'll be the...
Yeah, it's a life story of how everyone starts.
Yeah.
They just buy a first pack and like, I'm just going to see what happens, and then they get hooked, and then it's just like every 5 minutes they go back wanting more.
Yes, it seems to have, because it's targeted at, it's really targeted at kids. You know, people that young are being introduced to gambling.
Yeah,
It's got
not
quite
good.
a effect on mental health, because I've seen it.
Yeah, there's a point in
Yeah.
which you stop and think, is this even worth it?
I
Because
think
it
we run
gets
out of
pretty
money.
expensive.
Yeah.
It gets expensive
Yeah.
fast because they're around $8 to $10 a pack.
Which doesn't
and
seem like much when you buy the
it adds
one.
up
Oh yeah.
very quickly
Yeah.
because most packs only have a few dollars in value, not actually up to $8. The most expensive part of the packs, if you don't get a hit, is the cardboard. Because if you just get basic cards, they range anywhere from 20 to 80 cents a card, depending on what it is. And sometimes you hit that $30 card, but it doesn't happen often.
So you've moved.
Yeah, I am currently an hour out of town in a little town called Tuakau. It's like a little farming village of sorts.
Okay, so you've moved out there from the suburbs, the city, I suppose. You were pretty central. Big change?
Yeah, somewhat. Where I am now, there's not much to do. Only the essentials, really, so you'd really need a vehicle being out there.
So how long have you had ducks?
Over 6 months now.
The ducks are your main priority at the moment? That's kind of what gets you... Like, I guess
At the moment, yeah.
What I'm asking is, what gets you up in the morning, right? What's when you reach the end of the day, do you feel, yeah, that was a good day, that was worth it?
Somewhat,
Or do
yeah.
you feel something different?
Depends on the work that gets done.
It could be the markets as well, maybe.
Yeah.
Not so much the ducks.
Yeah, it's a mixture between the two, because one's more emotional support and one's more money.
Right. Do you think you'd like to pursue markets again in the future?
It all comes down to whether I can get some sort of wheels to
Right.
get down there. A moped, maybe with one of those storage things on the back.
So your takeaway from the markets is that you like doing them and you want to
Yeah.
keep doing them.
There's money to be made, yeah.
Okay. And it gives you like a sense of purpose?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's good. Do you feel at the moment without that maybe you lack a purpose?
Somewhat. I mean, I still have the podcast and the game and the ducks. Purpose is looking after them. Because they would die on their own. Because they have no survival instincts.
Okay, so your purpose is to look after these ducks. That's what you feel.
Pretty much. At the moment, yeah.
So, what's your podcast? So actually, creatively, that's what you're working on at the moment, right?
Yeah, it's still a work in progress. First episode is causing some trouble.
What's the podcast about?
It's a horror meets true crime.
Are there any stories you're focusing on?
More of the true, the real life murders that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the card game then?
The card game is pretty much going to take a mixture of Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, with gore added on the top.
Okay.
With gore and sad added on the top, in a way, depending on the card and the rarity.
Okay, so why do you want to do a card game?
I'm wanting to bring out a game that will be available to everyone to be able to get. It'll have, immediately as it comes out, it'll have a limit, so people can't just buy up everything. I want it so people can have fun and not worry about how much of their paycheck they're going to lose for trying to find the game, you know.
Is this fueled from frustrations around the
mainly frustrations,
the Pokemon community?
Just mainly trying to make something that can actually be collectible and not impossible to collect.
Could one argue that your way of coping with the mental health side effects of the chaos that is the Pokemon community is to bring in your own alternative to it?
Definitely.
Okay.
Because I figure I can lower some of the heat in the Pokemon world and bring it to this world.
Okay.
And make something that people can actually enjoy.
Oh yeah, so that's a nice way to bridge the Pokemon, your mental health, and a creative outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So, are you going to have collectible cards?
Yeah, it's gonna be like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, where they're gonna have sleeve boosters and booster boxes, but I'm gonna take a mixture of both. So I'm gonna take like the swirl on the back of Yu-Gi-Oh, switch it up to have either a sun or a moon in the middle, have the name, make it a deep emotional purple colour, in a way.
Has much of your background influenced these characters and what traits they have? Yeah.
The last card, the rarest one to get. Still working on the name. Still working on making it fit, but it's going to be in the realm of my last friend. So it's going to be like a half skeleton dog hugging like a half skeleton human sort of way, or sitting next to a skeleton dog lying next to a grave. It's sort of a merge between what me and my sister came up with, so it's heavily based on us, that one.
So that symbolises something personal to you?
In a way, because we were talking about the game, we spent more than 3 hours on the phone. Probably not the best option, but we spent more than 3 hours on the phone. And we were talking about what we wanted the cards to be and the artworks. She loves animals. I loves animals. She's lost a few friends. Because her mental health hasn't been too good lately either. And sometimes that scares people away, and we sort of merged it together. She loves dogs, and I thought, why not have like a really emotionally drawing one to bring people in? Because if they see a card that has like a dog skeleton lying next to a grave, that might entice people to be drawn to the game, because that might resonate with them, because they might have lost a dog, or the dog might have lost its owner. So
Yeah, I'm
that's how
visualizing
we
it.
visualized that.
Visualizing it now. It's
Because that's definitely a scenario that has happened somewhere in the world where someone's either lost a dog or the dog's lost the owner and then the dog's died going back to the owner. Because I actually saw a TikTok of a dog that would leave home, run to the bus stop to go meet with the owner, which I think was a veteran, a war guy that went to that was enrolled in the war and would always come to the bus stop looking for that owner, but then one day the owner never arrived, probably for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And that's the dog continued going there until it died. So I seem to that's how we sort of figured out how we're going to make these cards. We're going to merge them with what people would resonate with. And like sad, maybe cute, maybe like a cute cat or even a duck.
How's your mental health, Ra?
Right now it's average, as
Yeah.
it can be.
What does average mean to you?
Being out in the middle of nowhere, I guess it's...
Yeah, but like, what does average mean? Are you coping? Are you
coping enough.
Right.
Coping enough, you know, with having the card game and the ducks and the podcast and the Sunday market to wake up to. So, you know, I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Well, what's not making it excellent? Perfect. What's getting in the way?
Really just money problems, to be honest.
Right.
But that's the story of everyone.
Well, yeah, a lot of young people stress a lot about money. That's a big...
Yeah,
That's something we all need. It's not a lot
definitely.
of it.
Yes.
I know I stress a lot about money.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Very scarce thing to have around.
But overall, you're saying you're not too bad now. You're okay. Do you
Yeah.
think moving away to your own place and having a bit of independence, do you think that helps?
Somewhat, like
Somewhat.
50-50.
Do you
Because I
think
moved away from making money, so
Yeah,
that made getting money much harder.
it's interesting when you move out because you get that sense of I'm independent.
But money taking a blow.
Yeah, there's like a
There's always something that
a
takes the
mental
blow.
health boost for that reason. But then because you're on your own or you're not at home anymore, everything's suddenly so much more expensive. Which is a huge stress to have on your mind all the time.
It is.
How do you cope with that?
Not good, to be honest.
Was there anything you do to cope with it, or did you just not cope?
I just try a distraction. I mean, making money out in the middle of nowhere is easier said than done when you don't have a job and, you know, the nearest market is like a 30-minute drive away.
Do you think you could have been able to do it without Uma?
Not really, because I don't have the connections.
What sort of things did Uma provide that made it possible? Like it could be vehicles or just...
A vehicle. The umbrellas to sit under.
Okay, well, would you... Could you say Uma gave you the opportunity to do it?
Pretty much. It's something I would never have thought to do on my own. Being the connections, you know, with the customers, with Uma's years of experience. I was just... Yeah, Uma just helped me when I was struggling. So I wouldn't have been able to do any of this if it wasn't for Uma in the markets.
And you personally did actually make some money with it, eh?
Yeah, I've made quite a decent amount.
So it was kind of like a
A shared effort.
Oh no,
in a way.
Yes, but I meant more. It's given you an income stream
Yeah,
that you can now take forward on your own, right?
yeah, that I can do from the knowledge that I've learnt from Uma doing this.